Hey everybody, it's Lana. What's your generation? It's a windy day here in Oklahoma. So I'm gonna do my best here to stay on path today. We are having a heck of a day. ADHD is really strong on me today. I don't know what it is. You want to call it full moon? You want to call it post 4th of July stuff? I don't know what to tell you, but it is strong and I'm having a hard time keeping up with myself. So buckle up, grab you a cup of coffee, and we are fixing to fly off into pseudoscience, pseudo-psychology, some of it, the different things for different generations, and let's do this. All right, so some of the armchair psychology, some of the armchair pseudosciences in this world. Your number one, astrology. So, how many of you believe in astrology? How many of you had a astrology app on your phone? I don't know. I had it one time. It's fun. I don't really believe in it. Now there's a difference between astrology and you get a bad feeling about somebody. Pay attention to it. Sometimes your brain is trying to tell you, get away. Pay attention to that. It is considered to be a pseudoscience, basically because it's been disproven so much. You can read a horoscope. You can bet on all that. You can find some way to make it relate. I don't recommend, but you know what? You're your own person. Do what you want to do. I see it on is it Facebook? I think. It might be TikTok, I'm going to sketch your soulmate. Yeah. Whatever. But anyway, you just kind of need to be self-aware. Some of the other, let's go. I told you I can't keep up with myself today. So you got astrology, homeopathy, alternative therapies, medicines. We all grew up and had that home remedies book. Okay. Gen X grew up and had that home remedies book at home. Not everybody had it. Phrenology. It's the bumps on your head determine your personalities and health, and didn't know that one existed. ESP. Extraordinary perception. Again, pay attention to that gut instincts. Did you know that there's still people out there that think the Earth's flat? We'll go into that too. La 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 la. Cryptozoology. Okay, so y'all know what this is. You just may not know what it is. Y'all heard of Sasquatch? The dinosaur in the lake over in Scotland. I'll read it here in a little bit, and I'll be able to get back to you on that. Loch Ness Monster. That's what it is, Loch Ness Monster. That's your zoology. Ancient aliens theory. There is also another theory about, I think it goes into the flat earth, but it's about why there's shadows on a moon and why there's eclipse and all of that. So, like I said, it's going to be a good one today. Grab yourself a cup of coffee or whatever it is you drink. I don't care if you grab you a beer or a shot of Jack. You smoke. Here in a little bit, we are going to come back because I hear something I got to go take care of. And we are going to kind of try to remotely go through all this. All right. So we're going to kick it off with astrology. It's failed testing. I don't think this is the same thing, though. All the stuff that we find up in the sky we use for mapping, that's a totally different thing. So I had somebody ask me when I was studying into this a little bit, yeah, but they have the solar system. No, that's not what they're saying. They're saying, that they can tell how your day's going to be today by this certain star. That's the short version of that. I'm not going to dig into astrology very much. You believe what you believe. It's fun. It's fun to play around in. Homeopathy, like I said, my generation grew up with the home remedies book. And some of it's common sense. I even had an EMT license for a while, and there's a lot of things that you could do at home to prevent things. And then there's times whenever you need a medicine. You need a doctor that knows what he's doing, and You can take the root of this and oh yeah, in high school, guys thought if they took donkey penis, that it made them more loving. I think that's a good way to put it. Well, don't know if it worked. Sorry. Also keep in mind, I don't know why everybody's allergic to so much stuff. I don't know if it's because of the preservatives and all of that. So be careful on trying something strange that you've never put in your body before, because you don't know how it's going to react to it. FDA is never going to approve it because there's no science behind it. You know, we're not in the 1900s and the 1920s where we had to sell a goat to go to the doctor. I do know not everybody's got insurance. I've got a couple kids that don't. Aggravates the shit out of me. But, so I do understand and I know how medicine costs. Thank God I have decent insurance or I'd be hurting. So, go with it in moderation. Just because it didn't affect Billy Bob or it helped Billy Bob might not help you. They don't have all the same health conditions, but you're free white and over 21. Knock yourself out. Do whatever you want. Get back to me and let me know how it handles, because I ain't saying it works or it don't. I'm a firm believer in Tylenol and ibuprofen for breaking a fever. I don't want to be in an ice bath unless it's super high or I don't know what's going on. So I want to get into this modern flat earth beliefs. So I got we're all over the place. All right, this was very interesting. I had no idea that this existed. So they have things called like the Pac-Man effect. Most of us have seen a Pac-Man screen. You guys have more of this is more like the stand-up Atari games and stuff, where if you went off one side of the screen, you'd reappear on the other. In Pac-Man, they had the gates that went off so you could go off. So that's part of their theory that the world's still flat. They believe that the Antarctica wall, this is so cool. They believe Antarctica isn't a continent, but it is a massive 150-foot wall of ice ringing the disc. Ringing the disc? Okay. Ringing the disc to keep the ocean from spilling out. Any of y'all ever seen The Truman Show? So maybe if we sail out far enough, we'll have a little banister and a staircase where we can walk out and leave the show. I don't know. Sorry. Don't mean to knock down for as far as we've come. I'm really kind of shocked this is still out there. The accidental proof. This was cool. So, in a documentary, a group of believers spent $20,000 on a high-end gyroscope to prove the Earth wasn't moving. The device recorded a 15-degree per hour spin, the exact speed of the Earth's rotation, thereby accidentally proving the globe theory. Oops. Who knew? Talk about Pac-Man. NASA's CGI rule. That's thousands of years. They always say things are photoshopped. They say that nobody really landed on the moon. That it was all made in a movie theater. Believe what you want. I ain't been out of this atmosphere. I don't know what they make up in movies. I don't plan on leaving this. When the Earth goes, I guess I'm going with it, because not my thing. There's a no shadows on the moon theory that has to do with this. When a lunar eclipse happens, mainstream science says it's the Earth's... What? Mainstream science says it's the Earth's shadow. Flat earthers counter that the eclipse is caused by a mysterious, invisible shadow object floating around in the sky. Now, how can you not buy into that? I love it. The core theory... Oh, I jumped. So, that, boys and girls, is the modern flat earth beliefs. Phrenology. This is the one I was talking about with the bumps on your head. So, phrenology, their core theory, phrenologists believe the brain was a collection of distinct organs, each responsible for a specific psychological trait or mental ability. I don't think if you get bumped in the head too much, sorry, I digress. cautiousness, combativeness, benevolence, all the N's. They theorized that more a person used a specific mental organ, the larger it would grow, physically pushing the skull outward, creating a detectable bump. Practitioners use tools like calipers, tape measures, and phrenology heads to map these cranial features. So there's no real evidence. Confirmation bias on that is it's an anecdotal evidence, biased interpretations seem to be an excuse for racism and sexism, basically to prove that one race was smarter than the other and that man or woman was smarter than the other one. So kind of just a bunch of bullpucky, in my opinion. But, all right, so cryptozoology. Here's a good one. Cryptozoology. Most of us have dealt with this, whether you realize it or not. Each generation has their different versions of cryptozoology. That's right. I'm getting the generations thing in there. So, we are going to start with the silent generation. They were the era of the explorers. They were basically out there. So, after these guys go out on ships for, I don't know, months, they come back telling some crazy stories. One, they get paid for the storytelling. And two, somebody must have, probably my daughter getting to work. And two, what'd I say? People get paid for their stories. Plus, they had nothing to do but drink and eat out there and be merry. So I'm sure they did see some crazy crap, big waves. And if you scream like a little girl, you better have a good reason when you come back and tell your buddies why it scared the piss out of you. However, the silent generation did have discoveries of the okapi and the mountain gorilla. So that kind of further fueled some things. Undiscovered animals were hidden in remote regions. The baby boomers, the golden age of cryptids. So they had a little more discipline, localized field work that they got out there and done. In the 1950s, the scientist Bernard Heuvelman, often called the father of cryptology, and Ivan Sanderson coined the term and codified the search of unclassified animals. This generation searched heavily for surviving dinosaurs in the Congo and lake monsters worldwide. Key figures and discoveries in 1967, the Patterson-Gremlin film ignited the North American search for Bigfoot Sasquatch. While the capture of coelacanth, y'all tell me how to pronounce it, a living fossil, we'll just dumb it down so everybody can pronounce it, validated the beliefs that the relics of the past could still be swimming in the oceans. Now, some of this stuff has been proven that it's true. So Generation X, we are the ufology in the modern era. So we've got, our generation has the Loch Ness Monster. I didn't really know Mothman was a big thing. UFOs. I think the boomers were big into UFOs too. If you look at Roswell and all that, so you can't just like put everybody in a box. So there's Roswell, Area 51. There is this, from having family and friends in the military, you don't know what's going on. I don't even think, the military is kind of their guinea pigs to do with whatever they want. But before false news has been around a long time. It's just a little more proven now that it's false news. So, I mean, I remember growing up, B-52 bombers were flying over our house in southern Missouri. We had Whiteman Air Force Base, had Fort Leonard Wood, Fort Lost in the Woods. That stuff was flying over, and as we got older, we see people talking about UFOs, and I don't know, they were test flying the B-52, is it B-52? Stealth bombers. Boy, I was wrong about that one, wasn't I? I'll retract that. But, so you had all that different stuff. So, the thing with our generation, I mean, we had 5 television stations, ABC, NBC, CBS, maybe PBS, and early teen, we got Fox. So a lot of that got to be put out there a little bit more. So millennials, they got the internet. So they could really spin things up to where we just got word of mouth. With the millennials, the birth of the internet, early online forums, and investigative skepticism. Where's that? They'll argue with you no matter what you say. Millennials explored emerging internet legends like the Chupacabra, while digging into historical origins, hoax, and behind class of cryptoids. One of the things that they did prove was actually true was the giant squid. That actually does exist. A lot of this stuff popularized the Animal Planet, the Lost Tapes. Generation Z, internet meme and folkloric era. They video essays, irony, urban exploration, and embrace the cryptids as local culture. Nothing's out of the norm for them. I mean, you see here and you look at this, millennials kind of ruin this too. Our Frankensteins, our Draculas were our generation toward the end maybe there, but I think more millennials than Gen X started making that stuff more realistic. I mean, Interview with a Vampire, Twilight, Vampire Diaries. So all of this stuff kind of became a little more accepted. I mean, you might have your werewolves. Yeah, gotta throw the werewolves in there for Twilight. You might in the back of your mind not believe it's not true, but at the same time, that Gen Z, they're that fantasy generation, that they'll live in that fantasy world as opposed to walking down here on Earth with the rest of us, and then they wonder why life blasts them in the face. All right, so that's the cryptozoology, and I can't say it right now, forgive me. And that's where we're hitting the generation. So you got that. Now we're going into the ancient alien astronaut theory. So who built them? The Great Pyramids of Giza, Stonehenge, Nazca Lines. Nazca, I don't think I said that right. Did the ancient people build it? Did aliens build it? Well, guess what, folks? We don't know. I have a clue. We weren't there. Nobody else was there. Nobody's alive. And people told big stories. Religious origins theory posits that the gods, angels, and deities described the ancient mythologies, religious texts, folklores, Hindu Vedas were actually extraterrestrials. I am not getting in here whether it was God of Greece or God in heaven. Not arguing with any of that. Some of our ancient cave paintings, spacesuits. I don't know, it's a lot of popular culture. I guess there's like a pseudo archaeology too. Whatever floats the boat, I guess. So you had your extraterrestrial gold miners. Earth Chronicles proposed that alien race called the Anunnaki traveled the Earth in 450,000 years ago to mine gold to fix their planet's atmosphere, later creating humans as a slave race. You have spacesuit cave art that they found. Then you get refueled again by the pyramids, the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Were actually built as a massive power plant for fueling stations for alien spaceships. I guess they got a better warranty on their vehicle and they didn't have to come back and use the pyramids to fix their spaceships anymore. I guess we learned from their motor technology. Sorry. I cannot help myself today. All right. Last but not least, as soon as I find my mouse, that is. Can't you say it? Iridology. So this has to do with the iris in your eyes and changing colors. This is not when the babies are born with blue eyes and they stay blue or they turn green. The facts on that is your DNA. We all in, I think, Biology 1, we learned which traits will go on from here to there. Iridology. It says if your iris changes colors can show that maybe you're going to be sick or you have cancer. It goes back to a theory. Can't remember. Somebody accidentally broke the leg of an owl, and he swore that it put a black line through the iris of their eye. Now, the iris on a diagnostic map, it says there's roughly 80 to 100 zones. I'm not going to get into that. I've got little freckles in my eyes. I got little black dots in my eyes. But it says the scientific truth, the structure and texture of your iris are entirely determined by genetics. They are formed in the womb and remain completely stable and unchanged throughout your entire life and health status. I do remember going to a hairdresser once because, as you know, I dye my hair. And she was looking at the iris of my eyes. And ever since then, talk about your confirmation bias. She said that whatever I did, whether it was a brown, a blonde, a red, or whatever, it needed to be ash because of the iris in my eyes. Nope. Ash pulls out brassy in my hair and looks like I've been using Sun-In from the 1980s if I use anything ash. So, don't know what they were treating in old cosmetology school there, but that didn't work out. So, what do you think? Is it a pseudoscience? Is it real? Do you read your horoscope every morning? Do you believe in Sasquatch? Do you believe in the Pac-Man theory where it goes out over here and it comes back in over here? I don't know. Common sense doesn't grow on everybody's tree. And everybody's got a theory. Everybody has, well, you know, everybody smokes weed now. So I can only imagine, hey, that's what I should have said at the beginning as somebody go, anyway, we won't go there. All right, so really quick one today. However, I hope you all still have your fingers and toes from 4th of July last week. I hope you all are having a great summer and you're not burning up. If you do, hope you got a pool or have a friend with a pool, or you're just getting out there and you're having a good time. Anyway, but with that being said, all the little phrases that come out of me at least 300 times during one of these, I hope y'all have a great rest of your weekend. And what's your generation? Hold up. Stop press. Don't forget, if you hit like, subscribe, all those little buttons, and make sure and come back here. We always air on Sundays at 2 p.m. Check out the shorts. If you ain't got time, check out the whole podcast. Check out my shorts. Hope you all have a very blessed weekend. Bye. Thank you.